Meeting will come to order. Please stand. No votes in executive session. There are no public comments on the agenda. Superintendent's reports.
Chairman Marciano and members of the school committee, delighted to introduce Principal Mellon from Ritchie Middle School and the faculty and staff that are here. He and his students have a presentation for you this evening. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot Mrs. Bennett.
Good evening, everybody. I will make this 5 minutes or less. I know you have a lot of things to do this evening. I want to thank my teachers for coming out to support us tonight. I especially want to thank the students who took the time out of their schedule to come here and present to you. We're going to do a brief presentation on our thinking maps that we've been utilizing. Both middle schools have been doing that now since the start of the year. It's been a very effective program, and I thought it would be ideal if they came and expressed it, some of the ways that it's helping them. So the first thing I want to point out is that slide is professional development that we've been given to the teachers. It's our thinking maps training. It's been done in the library. It's been done after school. It's been done in the mornings. The support and the buy-in from the faculty has been tremendous across grade levels, across curriculums, across subject areas. We are using it everywhere from PE to world culture to mathematics, social studies, and science. The goal is to get the students comfortable with the 12 maps that they utilize in all subjects matter to increase their student achievement and student learning. So so far it's been an excellent addition to our school. Part of a successful program, anything that you do in school, is bringing the community or the parents in. So the great thing about Thinking Maps, it does have a good parent engagement piece. Every time we teach a map at school, a map memo goes out on our Skywood to all parents. It even gives them ways they can incorporate the map at home to support their family and their children there. So it's not just for our students. It's something that we use as administrators. Mrs. Bennett is phenomenal, and she's very organized, and she does a great job of thinking maps in her own daily routine to help keep us organized and to brainstorm ideas to make Ritchie better. So just a great program that we're really proud of. Student success has been evident. I'm going to bring my students up now. So if you'd like to come up, you may do so. They're very excited, and they're not nervous. These are my Fab Five, I call them. Excellent students, 7th graders on red team. They are all from Mrs. Catone and Mrs. Narato's class who came to this evening. So we thank you for that. We have Indra Winnigan, Mason Dano, Caleb Estrada, Michael Hool, and Madison DeFreitas.
I'll be talking about flow maps. Flow maps are generally used for the steps to do something in a specific order. For this flow map you can see on the board, it describes step by step the qualifications in order to vote in an organized way. The flow maps help me study in certain situations. They keep me organized because of its format, and the fact it can be used in multiple subjects really helps. Michael is going to explain the flow maps we made and how they can be used for organization in all subjects.
Alright, This is a map I made for math class about a coordinate plane. It's a very organized way in how to set it up. It shows how to use it and how to make it so you can understand it better. The thing I like about the flow map, it's very organized and it's in order. So in ELA, I like to use that for if we're writing a story and we need to break it down. We can do it in beginning, middle, end, and then we have the drop-down boxes, which go back to end. You can see the drop-down boxes if it leads up to the bigger information that you can see, and it's important too, and it's very organized, and you can use it for ELA, beginning, middle, end, and yeah, that's pretty it.
Good job, buddy.
In social studies, we have begun learning about politics and our government. One of the many things we have done is learn about each branch. We needed a way to classify the 3 branches and what they are responsible of. In the end, we had an organized tree map with all 3 branches listed below as everything they were made up of. Tree maps are one of my favorite maps to create. They are organized and more put together rather than writing a list. Because of the way tree maps are set up, our class is able to make them into tests and easily study.
The tree map is used for like listing topics, and it's very helps me with organizing. This map helps me when I'm studying because it is organized and it's very easy to read. Because the way it's lists, I can memorize each topic easier than reading it across, reading lists and stuff, just across. And there was an example on Miss Catone's test where she filled in a couple things, where it says Congress, and we would have to fill in Senate 100, House of Rep 435, and this map being organized and very well listed and easy to read helped me get a better grade on my test.
The double bubble map is very useful for things like argumentative essays that we use a lot in social studies, especially because of the Trump and Clinton thing going on. We also used it once in social studies to get to know a friend that we really haven't known before, and they are very organized and can help you can help understand the similarities and differences between 2 people, multiple, or 2 things. It can help organize what you know and what you want to know.
I want to thank you guys all for coming out tonight. You did an excellent job. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. You guys did a great job.
Kept it.
Melinda?
5 minutes.
Be it resolved that, nice job, Mr. Mellon. Be it resolved, and students, by the way, and teachers, thank you very much for really following through with that initiative, by the way. Next item is, be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the financial report as submitted.
Motion? Need a motion?
Motion with discussion.
Yeah, who moved it? Raise your
Because
hand.
you brought me for me.
Donald?
No.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Cataldi, seconded by Mrs. Picard. Discussion.
So just to note that I see in the expenses, it says that we will be hiring. Just a point of clarification, I am not agreeing to hiring anyone. Based on the numbers I received tonight, I think and I don't have the case hours, so it's hard to determine. It looks like we may be overstaffed. There are several teachers with low caseloads. So this needs further review before I can agree to anything in the financial report regarding adding any new people.
Or you want to pass the rest of the report and, you know?
I will pass with the with the removal of the line that we will be hiring a new resource teacher.
Okay. Any further discussion?
So what are we voting on?
Wait a minute. The superintendent wants to make a comment.
The resource teacher was already hired last month.
That's the teacher we said, the one that Mr. Palmieri requested per his 700 students and that we were looking into?
No. I'm referring to the one that's helping with the Wilson, the split teacher that's going to
So
Wayland.
then maybe a point of clarification, it says we will be hiring, because it's this financial report, is this past or present? Which one are we talking about? Okay, so this is not the one that we were discussing with Mr. Palmieri last month?
No.
Okay, thank you, then I'm all set.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the homeschool requests as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Andriozzi. Who seconded it? Ms. Dianetta? Anyone else? No? Okay, next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the field trips requests as submitted.
Motion by Ms. Picard, seconded by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the transition bus use agreement as submitted.
Motion by Ms. Picard, seconded by Mr. Andriozzi. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
The next item is our transportation bid, and I'm going to turn this over to Mr. McNamee for a review.
Thank you. We advertised for a transportation contract back in early October, and we had a pre-bid meeting on October 18th. There were 5 vendors that expressed interest in bidding on the transportation contract. Based on that meeting, we had submitted a rather lengthy RFP, probably close to 40 or more pages. We had an addendum to that RFP, answering any particular questions that the vendors did have on that document. And one of the things that did come up was that all the vendors would be bidding under 2 scenarios. One where they would be supplying the land for parking the buses and employee parking, and another bid where the town would supply that land. And so we could kind of see what the difference is. In most cases, it would probably save us close to $90,000 a year on a particular bid. So we are searching to see if we can find some land to park. We need to park 25 buses, and I believe that they're looking for about 50 employee vehicles to park. So we have had discussions with the mayor to find a place that's suitable for parking of the buses and the employees. So, but this bid is going to be based on the new vendor supplying the land to park the buses at this point in time. All the bids were due and were opened in public last Thursday, November 10th, and I performed an analysis of each of the bidders, and you have that in your packets in terms of compliance with the requirements of the bid, the RFP, and they were substantial in terms of what we were looking for, especially in light of where we're going in terms of relocating 2 schools coming up shortly. So we were very interested in knowing what type of routing software these bus companies were going to be using, and also the management that would be used by these companies. So at the end of the day, there were 3 qualified bidders that we looked at. The low bidder, which we're recommending, was Durham School Services. That a total bid, which includes monitors, was $1,755,749. And the next lowest was DATCO. They were a few $1,000s higher, so those two are pretty much in line. First Student, which is also a very qualified vendor, they were a little bit higher. They were probably well over 100,000 over the lowest bid. Unfortunately, our existing contractor, which was Northeast, did not, the proposal they submitted did not qualify for what we were looking for in terms of the specifications. So our recommendation is that we contract with Durham School Services, which would be a 3-year contract with 2 one-year options. So it would be a 5-year contract that we would be entering into.
John, were you satisfied when you explored these bids as to this company and whatever that they could service us properly?
Oh, absolutely. We did reference checks on the companies, basically on the 2 low bids that we were considering, and Durham's references were excellent. DATCO, which is the second lowest, is predominantly a Connecticut company. They have very few Rhode Island operations, so we felt that Durham would be able to provide us the appropriate services that we need. They currently do Smithfield, Situate, so they're in the area.
Cumberland, Woonsocket.
In Cumberland, Woonsocket. So they have sufficient management. They have obviously a sufficient amount of equipment to provide these services. One of the things that they, for example, cameras on the buses, their standard is to have 2 cameras, one in the front, one in the back, which, we were looking to have just 1 camera on, so their minimum is 2. They are going to provide at no additional charge an app that parents can put on their cell phones to track the buses. So the technology that they have is excellent. In fact, we have a couple of representatives from Durham here tonight if there were any specific questions. But our recommendation right now would be to engage them.
Based on John's recommendation, we need a motion. Motion by Mr. Donald Cataldi, seconded by Mr. Andriozzi, and I guess the remainder of the committee. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, so voted.
Great, thank
Next
you.
item.
We have, be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the resignations as submitted.
In a motion, motion by Mr. Iannetta, seconded by Ms. Picard. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
We do not have any retirements. Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the leave of absences as submitted.
Motion by Mrs. Picard, seconded by the entire committee. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
We do not have any layoffs this evening, but we do have appointments, and I will read those. Cynthia Hawkins, school psychologist, district-wide. Kimberly DeTusa, girls basketball coach at Birchwood. Casey Valella, teacher assistant, half-time at Centerdale and half-time at Greystone.
Motion by Picard, seconded by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
We do not have any layoffs or displacements, and so we're on to the school committee reports.
The item on the agenda is naming rights, and that would be Mr. Andriozzi and Mr. Palmieri.
A couple of years ago, 2 years ago, we had talked about naming the schools where people would pay to put their names on them, or different rooms and gyms, sports fields, etc. And we kind of put it on hold because of the facilities, but I just wanted to bring it back up again because we're going to be doing something with it. And Steve wants to say something, and then we have some other ideas as to what to do too. I think Gina wants to say something, so. Steve?
Thank you, Steve. So again, we put it on hold knowing that we were going out to bond for the new schools. I guess our plan is going to be, after we see the renderings and I guess the blueprints of the new schools, to possibly go out and immediately solicit some naming rights to the new schools, knowing that there'll be more rooms, gymnasiums, atriums, common places. We know that there'll be a lot more and a bigger buzz, and people want to get involved, and hopefully, they'll open up their purses and happily name something after a friend, themselves, their company, whatever it be. So we're going to try to, if we could, at some point in time, maybe get in touch with the contractors who are handling the buildings and see if they can help us along in this, because I'm sure they may have had some experience with it in other districts, possibly. We're not sure. But if not, we're going to try to wing it ourselves. We're going to come up with an RFP to put out there, and hopefully we can get people to come on board. Thank you.
Yeah, Steve, just, if anyone is interested, if something is $50,000 that was over a 20-year period, it would be like $2,000, $2,500 a year. So whatever we're doing, we're going to try and make affordable for everyone to do. And I think it's a great way for advertisement, and if you have an affinity to a certain school. And Gina wanted to say something. She had an idea.
So one of the things I had mentioned to Mr. Palmieri, because we will be knocking down 3 buildings, there may be an opportunity where we could find some bricks where people are parents or families or historical facts, where we could build pathways into playgrounds, around gardens, along edges, where families could put their names on them. And in this way, a piece of the history of the old school moves on to the new buildings. So if there's a way that we could look into that, I think it would be a nice way to keep the history of the other buildings alive in a different way.
Yeah, if anybody else has any ideas, feel free to say something. But we'll be getting back like on a monthly basis, because we don't want to sit on this.
Very much, Mr. Palmer. And Steve, you all set?
Yes, I am. Again, with the new schools, we know there's going to be a ton of new space available for us, whether, again, it's an atrium or, as Gina just spoke of, a garden, a walkway, a path, a playground, something. There's going to be something for everyone. And again, as Mr. Palmieri said, we're going to make it affordable for everyone to jump on board. And hopefully, whatever we get, every little thing is going to help. I mean, it's going to help the sports, it's going to help the kids, it's going to help something. Somewhere down the line, it's going to help.
Okay.
How about the Cicerone Science Department? That sounds pretty good, huh?
Of course, I mean, I thought it was already in the works.
Can I do
I
Maryville
put
School?
that slot all the way for him.
Can I do Maryville School?
Okay, next, we're going to go on to charter schools. Mr. De Silva.
So can I take these in reverse order and do the school bond referendum first? All right,
Yep.
so
That's fine.
obviously we're all elated and excited, and we thank the town residents for their overwhelming support. And I'm going to speak for myself, but I think every member of this committee will agree with me. I think the I's and the T's and the professionalism that's going to come forward, I think we need to be apprised of it at all times, avoiding cost overruns, avoiding the quagmires. And I know you've, Superintendent, you've indicated that the mayor plans to be involved in the project and has requested that his office is kept informed. And I would hope that we get the same information on a monthly basis, your weekly updates. Something like this is, in my opinion, is too important to stay in the dark or not know if there's something going on that we should be aware of. I don't know what the plan is going forward in terms of someone who's looking out for our best interests, someone who the school committee knows is looking out for this project to be done properly, professionally, and I'm not saying we're not doing that, but properly and professionally, all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed, and going forward. So my request would be that we stay as informed as anybody, if not more informed than anybody, because ultimately, it is a, I mean, it's a school department project, and we thank everyone for supporting it. And we'll work hand in hand with the mayor's office and the council, but I just think the lines of communication have to be very transparent going forward with all of this.
I don't think anyone disagrees with that, Rod.
I appreciate that. Regarding, I'm sorry.
And Mr. De Silva, we're going to kind of change gears. We've had presentations every month from schools, but John and I feel we're going to use that time to bring the committee publicly up to date on everything every month that's happening. Certainly, I'll always inform you of what's going on, but we thought publicly we should bring the community up to date every month.
I think that's an excellent use of our time, and I know going forward, there will be parents who want to be here and find out what's going on. Is this start? I mean, okay, we voted the bond, but it's still up in a cloud. And when the shovels hit the ground and the buildings fall and the children are moved, we need to know what's going on. We need to know the timeline, and because there will be people here asking questions and just wanting to know what's going on. And I think a monthly presentation dedicated to that is an excellent idea.
Okay, Gina?
I know you're meeting with the faculties in McGuire and Stephen Only, if not this week, next week. And what about the families? Well, when are those going to be started?
Oh, we need to get the particulars down, with the building and where the rooms are going to be located so that I can give them some good information, but that is going to come right after that. I've been speaking to the faculty because there was rumors flying that were simply not true, and so I needed to kind of put that in play. What I've asked the teachers to do right now, because nobody's moving yet, stop purging in your classroom, get rid of things. If they have finished a unit and they'd like to box that up, we're going to provide them with boxes, and then we're going to figure out where we can take those and store them. So we're working on just the logistics of that, but you are right. The next place is to have those kind of conversations with families, and that is my next goal, is to talk to them about the move. Now that we have a new bus company, that's going to be part of the equation. How long's my kid going to be on a bus? Where's the bus stop going to be? So all that has to be figured out. So I'm kind of glad that we have this time with the bus company to figure that out.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
that app that not that I use apps, but that app that Mr. McNamee indicated, I think is a huge benefit, especially to the parents who will be displaced for the year or two that this is going on. Getting on your smartphone and realizing where the bus is
Yeah,
I think
it's
that can put people at ease.
a great
They
idea.
accept it more readily, what's going on.
Okay, speaking of Mr. McNamee, there's a lot of people that work quite a bit on getting this bond through and on that facilities committee and whatever, but I don't know if anyone worked more than John on it. And John, I'd like to personally, on behalf of the committee, thank you very, very much. And this is not to slight anybody else, but I know you did a lot for that. Thank you again.
Well, the fact that this is John's baby and it's being done professionally, I think we can all sleep easier at night. Going forward, information will give us power. Now, can I talk about the charter school piece?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What? Power in terms of making decisions, if we have the good information. In terms of charter schools, so the Achievement First, well, two things. One, there's a new law that was passed by the General Assembly, and it talks about local control in terms of, it says local written support will be required for a proposed charter that is a network charter school as defined herein. Written support means a resolution or ordinance granted by the town or city council for each proposed sending district where the council considers the financial and educational welfare of the municipality and students after at least one public hearing. The Achievement First Mayoral Academy is looking to expand. I went to one of the hearings, the one that was 300 people in there. I did not speak. I plan on sending my comments via email. Mayor Avedisian in Warwick has declined to, he's not in favor of it. He's a declining school enrollment, and he talks about his budget. Mayor Fung in Cranston is not in favor of it. He cited his increased cooperation with the new superintendent and the school district's leadership. as a reason, and also the financial impact. I don't think Mayor Laws has signed on it yet. Mayor Lombardi unfortunately has. And with the advent of these two new buildings, this huge bond, and I know he was very supportive of it and helped get it passed, I just find it ironic that he would support this. And so I think we need to explore further. I would ask everyone on this committee to, and I can provide you the website, to write in your opposition to it. It is a financial impact. It's not necessarily this school against that school, but the charter school is a financial impact, and it's a parallel school. And the Achievement First, I don't want to call them insidious, but some of the ways they market themselves make, it's like, if I call you a name, then I must be better. Instead of promoting themselves, I think sometimes they denigrate us. At any rate, I think our next step, or at least my next step, is to go before the town council with this, put myself on the town council with this law and ask them to oppose it. I think budgetarily wise, we don't have a problem with that. We don't have a choice to do that. And I think the decision is going to be rendered on December 20th. If you recall, when I was not a member of the school committee, I fought this. This school committee.
Rod, excuse me, how about a motion that this committee go on record, if everybody's in agreement with that, as opposing that?
We
Yes,
can do that.
Opposing the increase.
Yeah, well, the expansion of the,
Yes. Want
You
to
can
make a
do that.
motion on that?
let me just say, before I make that motion, when I was not a member of the school committee from 2008 to 2012, is when Achievement First came in, and they did that on the coattails of Deborah Gist and the fair funding formula, so there was money to be made. This school committee voted 7-0 to not have it expand. The town council at the same time did the same thing, and it was only passed at the now defunct Board of Regents, 4-3. Excuse me, 4-3. Chairman Carullo voted for it, and it was what it was. This is now an expansion. It's a budget impact. So my motion would be absolutely that we send a resolution to the town council and to the governing body, which is RIDE, and I have their website here, expressing our opposition to the expansion of this. And they can expand it all they want. We just don't want North Providence kids going there because we have enough of our own. And people talk about school choice. Well, when you make a choice to come to North Providence and support these new bonds and support this new building, I think you made the right choice.
Okay, motion by Mr. Silva, seconded by the entire committee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, discussion?
I didn't hear a second, number one. Didn't hear a second.
He did, yeah.
Then I have discussion.
Yep.
So I don't think I'm prepared to make a informed decision without the financial impact of the town. So I think to be fair, because
we
we do
need
have
that.
residents that attend, right?
We
To be
need that.
fair, we need the financial
We need
impact.
that. The law says that. We need
Right.
that.
So I would say, let's get the financial impact of what that increase would do to our expenditure from the town.
Rod, you mentioned some mayors who were against it. Why are some mayors for it? I know it's not just Mayor
Well, there's only
Lombardi.
4 mayors because it only draws from Cranston, Warwick, Providence. If you recall, the first Achievement First Mayoral Academy was in Cranston, proposed by Mayor Fung. It was defeated. Community outreach was strong. I was involved in that. I teach school in Cranston. And then they reapplied through Providence. It was the last mayor. I don't remember his name. He ran for Tavares. And at that time, Cranston jumped on, Warwick jumped on, and North Providence. So it was 4 communities, and it passed 4-3. Avedisian is currently against it. He has a declining school population. He's closing schools, and it's a budget impact. Mayor Fung recognizes it's also a budget impact, but he feels that he has a good working relationship with his school department, and it's going in the right direction. I don't believe Mayor Laws has come out, and he's waiting for his financial impact, and the financial impact in Providence is going to be the big one. That's going to be huge. And then ours. They're drowning in Providence. And then our mayor, and it's in the report, he has sent a letter of recommendation to RIDE, and it's in the expansion document of Achievement First Rhode Island, and his letter is in here. But those other 2 mayors are against it. They are not supporting the expansion into their cities. Now, I suppose Achievement First could expand only into Providence, and Providence wants it. We've often thought that, we're an urban ring district, but we're not an urban district. And some of the needs they service there aren't manifest here as much, and I think people have spoken with their votes and their money how they want the school district to go, and I think those 2 new schools and all those supports we get, if we were doing a bad job, this place would be filled.
Any further comments, discussions? That motion is by Mr. De Silva, seconded by Mr. Cataldi.
And that would be pending the financial impact
Right.
that John McAfee.
Just repeat the motion, Rod, for me.
I just think we need to send a resolution to our town council asking them, and I'm going to go there myself and
Oppose it.
on the next, and to ride, opposing the expansion of the Mayoral Academy Charter School.
And that would be based on the financial implication town.
That's what the law reads, that it has to have local written support shall be required for a proposed charter that is a network charter school as defined here within. Written support means a resolution or an ordinance granted by the town or city council for each proposed sending district, North Providence, where the council considers the financial and educational welfare of the municipality and students after at least one public hearing. I believe Bill O'Brien co-sponsored that.
Although the mayor has sent in his approval, he still
He
doesn't have council
Doesn't
resolution.
have the
So
council.
what we're asking for, what you're asking for is a letter to the council
Citing the
explaining that
financial
our
impact.
concern for the expansion due to the financial implications it will have
Correct.
on North Providence. So
Yes.
when we get that, I think it would be clearer if it
Yes.
had, you have it, John?
It's in our
Perfect, go.
financial
I
report.
sent that I think it was the last school committee meeting, the one before.
Yes.
We have an
What would
achievement,
happen to us with the expansion?
achievement first.
Right.
We had 11 students last year. This year we have 29 students. That increase is going from 100,683 to 239,569. So if you take those students, and basically it's 8261 per student that we have to pay. So we're gonna get that state aid, and then we're gonna pay it out. So if those students stay, we're gonna get probably somewhere close to 9,000, depending on whether they're free and reduced, for each one of those students. So that $250,000 would wind up staying in the district to help support the district at this
And
point
that
in
could
time.
theoretically reduce the tax burden, because it's not an extra $250,000, not reduce it, but you know what I mean. It's not an extra $250,000 that we're asking the taxpayers to fund North Providence schools, so we can provide school choice for 29 people.
Because we'd have the students here,
Well,
and they're we're funding them.
incrementally, I mean, if we had to add a classroom, then it becomes a little bit more. So if we have, if it creates some overages, because I think Achievement First is, right now, it's K through 3,
Correct.
right?
K through 3. The document projects what it will be doing through 2029, and it's staggering in terms of the amount of people they want to service. Now, preponderance of those will be from Providence, obviously, but that doesn't, if North Providence is a sending district, then theoretically, anybody who wants to, and we provide the busing, and we pay for it. It's a parallel school system.
I get it. I'd like to know why the mayor is so for it. I mean, it's tough to get 5 cents out of him. It's just, I just find it like why he would approve, and he must have a reason. I'd like to know what his reason is.
I believe the future of Rhode Island depends on us providing our children with a high-quality education that equips them with the knowledge and skills they need to succeed. It sounds like what we do. Over the last 5 years, Achievement First Rhode Island Mayoral Academies have built 2 successful schools: Achievement First Providence K through 4, Achievement First Illumina K through 2. They invested in a Providence public school building that was in a desperate need of significant repairs, and have completely renovated and revitalized the old Perry Middle School building on Hartford Avenue. Their diverse student population mirrors the traditional Providence Public Elementary School, and their initial test results are impressive. 77% of their third graders are proficient in math, topping the highest performing districts in the state, Barrington, East Greenwich, and Jamestown, and 46% are proficient in English language arts, outperforming the statewide average by 6%. However, the reason I support Achievement First application for expansion is because of what I hear from parents, community members, and the school staff. I hear that their, quote, scholars are growing their brains and love learning, that it is a joyful place to go to school, that every child feels safe, that the longer school day helps students grow more rapidly and often negates the need for before and after school care, and that parents and visitors are always welcome. Please support Achievement First Rhode Island's application for growth. They are currently serving over 700 children who are counting on climbing the mountain all the way to college with Achievement First. And remember, once a cougar, always a cougar.
I would just like to hear from him because he has eaten a lot of our deficits. Okay, and
I understand that.
I'm just saying that before I would go against it, I'm not afraid to go against him. It's just that I'd like to know, like, if he's investing all this time and effort into this bond issue, why is he, like, in favor of that? To me, I'd like to just know what his reason is. That's just,
You know where to reach him.
I'll call him.
I read
I'll
the
ask him.
I read the letter that was submitted to RIDE.
I'll find out.
I can't speak for the mayor, so, but I can't speak to this law.
Does this cost us, or does the state reimburse us?
Well, it's,
I mean, is it taxpayer money that's paying for this, or is it the state that's paying for it?
well, there's an element of state aid that comes in that goes right out to them.
Okay.
And then what happens is they get another match on their side, so they're getting a lot more funding per child
Right.
than we are, obviously. So if you said that if they didn't have the charter schools, our state aid would be higher. So for those students that would be going to Achievement First, if they were to come here, we'd probably have at least $250,000 more in state aid funding.
It's all based on the per pupil expenditure, which, as I've said before, is a false number. Our total budget, basketball, oil, heat, pension, our total budget
I get that.
divided by total number of kids, and that's the number they get. So if we had 29 more kids, that number would be smaller. If we had 200 kids who came into our district, we might have a couple of overages, but our per pupil expenditure would be less.
Oh,
We'd
yeah.
have more kids,
But the only
same budget.
The only
would have more
difference there is we
expenses,
don't,
though. No.
transportation they cover now. They didn't before.
They
but
didn't
now-
before, you're
Now
right.
they cover it, so that would be the only one that would be pulled out, really.
And there's no savings with those 29 children
No, because
going.
you're still paying the teacher, you're still lighting the room, you're still paying the insurance, you're still buying the textbooks or whatever it is you need to run that building. And your total school budget is now divided by 29 fewer, so the per pupil expense that they're looking for is actually higher. That's a double-edged sword. That's just not right.
No, I get it. I just, like I said, he's been very good with, when we have deficits, that they go away. And
I've always say those are town deficits.
No, I understand, but a lot of them are school deficits, and I'm not here to argue it. I'm just here to find out what his reasoning is.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Still have a motion on the floor,
so,
Mr. Chairman.
You want to pass the motion contingent upon a discussion with the, oh, you want to hold it to
The,
next meeting?
you just heard from the finance director that cost us $250,000 this fiscal year.
That's done, right, John, you provide that.
Okay, all right.
And if it expands into North Providence further, it will be not less than $250,000.
Okay.
It will be more.
All right, you want to hold this until Stephen comes back with
We will not be meeting again before,
me-
It's the early one, it's December,
December?
okay, so the decision on Achievement First will be made December 20th. I think it behooves us to get this in earlier than later.
14th, I believe.
All right.
And you know, Pony Express takes a long time.
You want to go to the town council, too.
Well, I'm going to put myself on the agenda.
I
And
think,
that's the first Tuesday of December.
is there anyone opposed to allowing Mr. Palmieri afford him the opportunity to discuss with the administration?
Absolutely not. I think it's a
Okay.
wise move.
All right.
I think he has every right to do that.
Okay. All right, so we're on board for
Talking a
that.
special meeting after Mr. Palmieri's done, 8 o'clock in the morning? I'm fine with
I don't
that.
know about 8 in the morning, but we'll be there.
Special meeting at 5 PM.
Okay.
So, I think I will withdraw the motion. We'll wait to hear from Mr. Palmieri.
Yeah,
We'll put together a meeting. Is that what we're looking to do,
yes.
lady, gentlemen? A special school committee meeting? Is that what we're looking to do?
we
Or
may
we-
have one on the
are we pa-
agenda
are we-
anyway, so.
Or are we
on the-
passing the motion based on? Okay. Out of deference to Mr. Palmieri, I'll withdraw.
Save
the motion.
100,000 is going to cost us $1 million. I don't think that's a very wise decision.
Okay.
But here's the problem. Once the expansion's in place, then when none of us are here. Okay.
Okay, so I guess our deadline is what, December what, 14th?
1 second. Can you give me a second?
Okay.
So on Monday, November 21st, Stephen and I already have a stipend committee meeting. Maybe we could do it right before then.
Perfect.
Okay, good. All right, so we're gonna have, we're gonna relook at this. Okay. So we'll put a hold on the motion. Next item.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for giving me that time for both issues.
Be it resolved, everybody all set? Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the use of property requests as submitted.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Picard, seconded by Mr. Cataldi. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the list of bills as submitted.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Picard, and seconded by the entire committee. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
And the next is approval of minutes.
I make a motion to approve and seal the executive session minutes pursuant and applicable to provisions of Rhode Island General Law 42-46-4 and 5 for the date of October 26, 2016.
Second.
Motion by Mr. De Silva, seconded by,
Motion by me.
I'm sorry, motion by Ms. Picard, seconded by Mr. De Silva. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next
And a
item.
motion to approve the minutes for the general session meeting October 26, 2016.
Motion by
Second.
Mrs. Picard, seconded by Mr. De Silva. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion
Oh,
to
you
adjourn
never.
at 8:16.